Okay, so this video is going to kind of show how we're going to tie everything together with this plugin for the divination card deck using something called Advanced Custom Fields, which is a WordPress plugin. So basically, the way it's going to work is that the client is going to be able to upload the images and text and title of all the different cards from a nice kind of user interface that'll be really easy for her to use, and that is going to be synced to a database that's going to populate the card deck that gets spit out at a user. So really the tricky thing here is finding a way to link together all her data with the data the user sees. So I got this thing called Advanced Custom Fields. Let me just show you a sample. Let me pull up a sample snippet from Advanced Custom Fields. Okay, so code example. So it works really simple like this. So when we generate the PHP file, basically you just have this little snippet here. So the function is called the field, which calls out, that's a function of Advanced Custom Fields, and then field name is the field that is assigned to that piece of content. So of course that makes a shitload of, it's really confusing if I say it like this, but look at it this way. If this is the WordPress dashboard, and this is what the woman is able to, so if you come in here you see, you could edit the image, so if I hit delete, I come in here, so this would be what she would see, right? So it would say card image is one column, description is one column, what suit, what card number, the Latin name and the common name. And the reason I've got all these different fields is because that's what she has in her table here, right? So she has card name, which has a number, it's got a suit, kind of like a deck of cards. This is the text, and this is the image itself. So what's going to happen is she's going to come in here and there's going to be an entire list of fields here for her to fill out. So here she's going to go add image, and she'll be able to upload and choose each image one by one. She'll be able to enter in the description, the suit, the card number, all this information. And each one of these has a field assigned to it. So over here, when I said all we need to do is use this little snippet of PHP to inject that information, so the field is the function, it's going to be common for all of them, and then field name is going to be different for every single one of these. So basically when we populate this, we will fill in all the field names instead of constants. So for example, if we look at the source code here, so one here is instead of using the back of the card 20 times, we could just use that once. But all here, okay, so where it says here, all this text, so we are going to replace that with a function that looks like this, and then the field name, which we assign to that. So the image source, boom, the field name that we plug in for this image is going to spit out the URL that goes in here. So basically I'm going to build this huge file that has all of the information that we need represented as field names. And we've also got, so here you see the title. The way she has it set up here is that there's the Latin name, oops, there's the Latin name and then the common name. And so we're going to do the same thing. We'll do the Latin name, and then in parentheses we'll do the common name, but we're going to do it all with fields. So how the hell did I set this thing up, right? This is really cool, and I used this tutorial by Francis Iaconiello, so I'll put a link to this in the description. But this tutorial was perfect, so it was like just the right level for what information I needed. So first up, it's there's one extra thing in here that we don't need, which I'll point out, but basically it said, you know, go in, build a plugin, there's my custom plugin, and one thing you have to do is include the Advanced Custom Fields Pro plugin. So there's a free version, there's a pro version. I have the pro version. But basically you include that entire plugin within your plugin. And then aside from that, there's one file called wp-plugin-name.php. That's the main plugin file. And then there's these two, example post type PHP and settings PHP. We don't actually need example post type. That's the extra thing that I mentioned that's in here that we don't really need. So for the main plugin file, I basically copied and pasted this entire thing in. And just to kind of give a quick run through what it's doing, so it's declaring custom plugin. Here it's telling you which files are required by this plugin. So it's kind of pointing out, hey, you know, I've got all these files in here that I need to load for this plugin to work. That's the main gist of it. If you want details, you can read through. Then we actually have the settings PHP and example post type PHP file. Again, this one is very important, this one not so much. Now the settings page looks like this. So this is the settings page. So first off, we needed to tell WordPress that we've got a plugin, that it needs to be something we can activate, deactivate, and there needs to be a settings page. And the way that this page gets built is really cool with advanced custom fields. So what they have you do is they say, okay, this code here is to build a blank settings page. So this builds a settings page, but there's nothing on it. So it loads the fact that we have this page, but it'd be completely blank. And then what happens is we're going to load in all the fields using advanced custom fields. So how does this work exactly? Well, you go over to custom fields and field groups. So you notice that right now it's empty. So even though all of these fields are here, my custom fields plugin is empty. So what I can do is I can go in and say this is my field group. One key thing is that in this pull down you want to say options page, so form options page. And this is basically saying I'm gonna create a bunch of fields, and as far as what are fields, one second. These are all fields. So there's an image field, a description field, a suit field, card number. So these are all fields. And I'm saying that this set of fields only appears on an options page for my custom plugin. Right? So you could do this plugin, advanced custom field, can be used for a lot of stuff. And then I come in here and I add my fields. So this could be text field. Okay, text field. And I start adding in all of my different fields. In my case, I've got an image, I've got a text box, I have a pull down. So there's all these different options for fields, field type. You could have a text area, it could be a number, WYSIWYG editor, which actually this is what I use so that she can copy and paste in case she's using italics for anything. I use that for the text box. So you could have a choice, so you could have like a pull down menu. So you can have all these different fields, and what I try to do is I'm trying to make it automated so that we basically, I don't know if this is going to work in the end, but I'm basically trying to say, okay, we have this group, and now we need to run it 44 times. We might need to actually go through over and over again and do, you know, 44 times 5. I think it'd be 200 fields we might have to enter. I'm not sure yet. But the point is that you create this field group, and I hope it doesn't, it might actually interfere here.
For like an hour, soaking wet, freezing.
Yeah, okay, so this is the new one that I just created. Down here, this is my field group, test field. So this is the thing I just made, and this is the one that was loaded up here before you viewed this video. So how do I get it so that, so obviously think about it, this is a plugin that we're going to hand over to somebody, and we don't want them to have to create all the fields. We want it to show up like this out of the box. So what you could do is you go to Custom Fields, Tools, and you go to Export Code. So generate export code. So then you get all this code here. And what exactly is it that this code does? This code makes it so that it's firmly locked into the plugin all of these custom fields that apply to our given plugin. So that might be a little bit confusing, but just think about it. This code here refers to this field group. So all we have is 2 text boxes. And it assigns it to the bottom of our settings page, this section down here. Now you notice that up here, I said I've already got saved. So if I was to go to custom fields, and I go tools, and I go export, I need to take this code and stick it into my plugin manually. And that is exactly what it says in this walkthrough. It says, okay, I have a settings file, now what? Now you're gonna go through and generate the code. And one thing you'll notice is that this function name has changed. So register field group is actually the old function name. It's now called ACF add local field group. So that's a little bit out of date. And now you'll notice what he did is he stuck this right inside the init function on the settings.php file. So to look at the structure of it, so we've got, I call this divination plugin. I've got divination plugin.php, which is the main function or main file. And then you've got settings.php, which is where I've got injected this specific set of fields that get hard-coded right into the plugin. And be careful, because I accidentally the first time through put this in my main function plugin. So I put it in this file, but you really want to make sure it goes in settings.php. So let's see. I know I'm bouncing around a bunch. It's kind of painful, right? So custom post type file we don't need to worry about at all. That's for something different. And yeah, so that is basically how I created a settings page that allows the client to insert all the content that she's got. It's going to store it to these advanced custom fields, and we are going to stick the references to those custom fields directly into a PHP file here, so that those are linked. So her backend is going to be linked to the front end that we do. So I hope that makes some sense as to how this all works. And if you're stuck at any point, you'd either ask me, or also this file is pretty much what I used to make the walkthrough. A couple other things while we're looking at it. So I've been trying to figure out what's the right structure for a plugin. So this is the main folder. CSS files will go in the CSS folder. Images, so the only image that's a constant here is the back of the card. So the front of all the cards is going to be standard, using advanced custom fields that the client plugs in and can change anytime she wants. This one's constant all the time, so you might just leave it here. And then again, example post type is not needed, but it's inside this includes folder. I don't fully understand why it's in the includes folder. I mean, I understand why this whole plugin advanced custom fields is in here. I'm not 100% sure why the settings PHP and example post type are in here. JS is where the JavaScript will go. Shortcode, I'll get to that in a minute. Just be noticing that in the main PHP file for the plugin, all these files get referenced to let the plugin know that they are present. And the one that I did manually, which is not in here, but if I go to plugins and editor, I added in one more thing, which is this line right here. So require once, printf, shortcode, div app short. So what exactly is this thing? So this is a shortcode, or this is a file that contains a function to create a shortcode. And that file is right here. It's very, very short. A shortcode file is short. So basically, all this is doing is when I use this shortcode, div app short, it's gonna run this function. And all the function does right now is spit out this thing that says test content. So it doesn't seem very significant, right? But what I got here is I have this sample page, and all I did is I inserted this little div app shortcode. So if I plug this, notice that this matches this. If I plug this into the page, then when I open this page, in that space, it's going to spit out our test content. And that is this right here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the entire PHP file that you've got, we're going to load it into this shortcode generator. And it's going to have all of the references to all of the advanced custom fields, items that she's going to fill in. And then it's going to be so that anywhere on her website, she can just drop this little shortcode in, and boom, it's going to spit out the entire file that contains this entire plugin. So I think that's pretty helpful in explaining what the big picture of this all looks like. If you have questions, let me know. I don't think there's anything for you to do right this second. I need a breather from being in front of a computer screen right now. But I think this will make some sense.